the Desert Tiger Podcast.
Yeah, I can hear you, Sean. How's it going?
Hey, man, I am doing okay. Busy day today, but I am well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Busy day as well myself, but I mean, sometimes I think that that's better than the opposite, so I'll take it, right?
Dude, there was times last year where I was like, am I ever gonna be busy again? I wonder. Not sure. So I'll take all of this right now. So yeah.
Of course, it all has to come in a wave, though, right? It can't come like progressively. It's just like, hey, the country might reopen. You might have live shows again. Go!
Absolutely. That's exactly what's been happening. And I'm like diving into like some acting stuff. And so I have like three auditions literally just came in today. And it's just like, oh, I got to do like three self-tapes tonight. Okay, cool. No problem.
Wow. So stepping into that world as well, the thespian arts.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something that I've actually kind of been interested in for a while, but I haven't really had time to really hone the skills per se. And it's funny, just over COVID, I've just had a chance to like get with a great acting coach and do some one-on-one stuff and get an agent. And yeah, I landed some stuff this year. So, I mean, sky's the limit, really.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you've already started to make a couple strides inside of that scene, which is very, very exciting for you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I caught a Christmas movie this year called Sisterly Christmas. So it'll be out, I guess, at Christmas time, and it's going to be on the Oprah network. So yeah, man, it's a small role, but I'm in quite a bit of the film because I'm like because of the character that I play. But it's yeah, man, yeah, it's there's some cool stuff happening.
Awesome. I'm very excited to hear that. And some cool things happening with a new album potentially on the way as well.
Yeah, well, this has been in the works for quite some time. Funny enough, I started this journey to do this kind of like new record because I haven't been doing R&B per se like I did with my first group. In essence, I've been doing more, Motown revival type stuff, very adult contemporary. And it's worked. Like it's been good for me. I did the WestJet boarding session, so my music is playing on their planes, and it just fit like really, really well. But I had a hunkering in my heart to go back to the stuff that inspired me back in the day, which was '90s R&B, and so I was actually putting together songs for this pretty much in like 2016, 2017. Like I started like putting together stuff, and I was actually going to put it out under a different name, like a complete, not Sean Jones. It was going to be Sav Boulevard because my daughter, her name is Savannah, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm going to name this album and the project Sav Boulevard. And I got everything kind of ready. I had a lot of the songs, I had a logo ready and everything. And then it just got kind of put on the back burner because I got asked to do the boarding sessions. And I was just finishing up another record, and it just kind of got put on the back burner. And then I was with my producer, Murray Daigle, in Vancouver, actually. And well, I think we were filming some stuff for the boarding sessions. And we were in the hotel room, and he's like, let me hear some of this stuff that you've been working on previously. And so I played him some demos, and he's like, oh, man. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, like, I can see where you're going with this. What else do you have? And I started playing him more. I sent him the whole entire like Dropbox, and we started talking about it, and we started writing. And then the actual pandemic happened, and my voice actually, weird story, but in 2019 at the end of it, my voice was feeling really tired, and I couldn't hit falsetto notes in the whole nine, and I wasn't sure what the deal was. I thought I was just overly tired because it had been a busy year. So I decided, I'll just rest it because it's Christmas time, and January, February are quiet anyway for singers and performers. And then in February, I had a Valentine's Day show in Calgary, and I just couldn't hit the notes that I wanted to. And so I came back here, and I got with my doctor, and, she scoped me, and she was like, oh, there's a polyp on your vocal cord, on your left vocal cord. And I had a polyp before, but it was a small one, and we were able to just do some exercises, inject it with some steroids, and it flattened itself out, and I was good to go, back to normal. This one was bigger, and she's like, "We have to operate." And so she got me in really quickly. I think it was about March 7th that I actually went under the knife, and basically March 10th they like closed all elective surgeries because of the pandemic. So I got in like right before everything closed down. And the problem with this surgery is that it's like a 6 to 12 month recuperation. And so, and I had this record that I had to record, and I had my show Soul in the City at the castle that I do every summer. Like I've got this residency that was about to start. Oh, it was going to start in like June. And so, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I had to get this done. So I got it done. I rested, recuperated. Me and Murray collaborated online, virtually writing some more stuff for the actual album, going back and forth. And basically, as soon as June hit, so the city obviously was canceled last year because of the pandemic, but studios were still open. And so very carefully, I went back in the studio before it was really time for me to go back in. But I was very careful, and I ended up recording what I feel like, me and Murray feel like, is a really, really great album. It's got 15 tracks on there. It's a concept album. It's a 90s R&B. And if you love 90s R&B, you will love this record. Straight up. Like I really do feel that way, that strongly about it. The lyrics are great. The melodies are nice. It's got like smooth harmonies all over the place. And so, yeah, we ended up doing it, and that is where we're at right now. And so I've put out a couple singles. The next one comes out July 30th, Weekend Lover, which is my real, I guess you could say it's kind of like the real first single, because the other ones were singles, but I just didn't have, because of everything that was happening with COVID, the lockdowns, this and that. It was just so hard to try and get everything together in terms of like media and PR and shooting a video. Like, holy shit, like this, it's just been crazy. So this single is the first single that I've actually had time to like work with Strut, who's been absolutely amazing. Getting the PR together. There's going to be a video shot literally next week. So that's all going to be done. The music is ready. Like I've got everything together for this release and the ones moving forward. And so I'm really excited about it. And I love the tune. Like I think the tune is really, really great. Yeah, man.
Awesome. And I really love the story behind this, where it was inspired years ago, and just for various reasons, no matter what it happened to be, it's like, okay, well, we've got the boarding sessions with WestJet, which, like, why are you going to say no to having your music played on planes all across Canada? Like, foolish not to. Plus, you got to cover some incredible songs too. And then, like, you had your 2018 album, Take Me, which also came out sort of that same style, like you said, that Motown, but eventually it just became so undeniable that, like, even though you were waiting to like heal back, and even you yourself say maybe it had been a little bit earlier, but like the vibe, the feeling had finally become so undeniable after all this time that it's just like, no, we got to get this done now.
Yeah, man. And and it's an interesting thing, and I've never really spoken to anyone about it. But I live in we live in Canada, and there's a certain market that's here. And so, as an artist, you start to make decisions based on, what's viable and what is not. And, I've, over the years, I've done a lot of covers, a ton of covers. Like when people hire me to do corporate stuff, it's a lot of cover stuff. It's not generally a lot of my own stuff, even though I do throw that stuff in there as well. But they love me doing the Motown stuff and my recreations of it, my reimagining of a lot of these like classic hits. And so if you know that that's where the money is, sometimes that's where you head to. as opposed to doing what it is that's, truly inside of your heart, because you're wondering, well, am I going to lose the business if this is the direction that I go? And so, ultimately, I finally just said, you know what, I'm at a point in my career where, regardless of whether this goes good or bad, or if I lose, whatever, it's just like I need to do this. I need to do me. I need to be me. And so that is literally what's on this record. And it's like I said, it's 15 songs. 15. Like I could have stopped at 8, could have stopped at 10. And I was just like, no, there's more. There's more at all, and there's still more. Like there's stuff that we cut that we didn't even include on the album. So there's still more tunes out there. I don't know.
Well, like you said, the album's been in production for 5 years. It's been 15 years since In Essence was doing their thing. So, I mean, 15 tracks is quite a bit, but at the same time, that's 5+ years of trying to finally get this energy again. And there's no saying that you can't go back and make another Motown album again, right?
Oh, absolutely not. Like that stuff will always, I feel like it will always be there. It's just, yeah, I had to get real with myself and be true to myself, and not to say that the other, like I love the records that I did before. I really do. I feel like we put our heart and souls into them and the whole nine. I just feel like I probably would have done this record sooner had I not been thinking so much with like the head and the pocketbook. And it's just something that, many artists definitely deal with. And I definitely applaud those that say, fuck it, I'm doing me and this is it. And whether it goes or it doesn't, this is who I am, and that's it. Sometimes being good at more than one thing can be tricky too, right? Because I'm very good at doing the Motown type stuff and being on stage and being charismatic and bringing people back to that age and time where people actually performed as opposed to just walking across the stage and doing this. It's like, but at the same time, like I said, this music that I've got on this record, I'm really proud of.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into this upcoming track because, like you said, you feel personally like it is the first true single because you finally get to put a little bit of emphasis, a little bit of oomph behind it. So take us a little bit behind this new track, Weekend Lover, because I love this song. It's such a jam.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. I remember sitting... this track is so old. I won't say so. The creation, the first like ideas of this tune are so old that we put on an extension in our house. I think it started in like 2018, and it took like a couple of years to get done. And I finally have my music room that I had to have this like music room made as part of the extension. Finally, after all these years, like we've been in Hamilton, Ontario for 11 years or something like that. And I had my piano inside of my bedroom and I had my laptop on top of the piano, literally, like, you know what I mean? The bed, my wife's there at night, I'm like, the lights are turned off. I got my laptop on, I'm dimming it down. Anyways, it goes back all the way to then. So it must have been 2017, 2016, maybe, when the first like idea of this song came. And I just remember and getting that down. And then the song just kind of evolved and I started writing it. And I pretty much wrote the entire thing. But then I went to record like a demo of it. And a guy named Donnie Anderson, who is an amazing singer. In fact, I think he might have been even a finalist back in the day when Canadian Idol was still going on. I think he was a finalist on Canadian Idol. Amazing singer, but he's also an amazing songwriter. He's got a bunch of like country stuff, country hits that he's been a part of. And so we sat down and he basically ironed out a couple of lyrics here and there and made sure everything like felt good in past tense and this and that. And that was it. Like it was pretty much done. And then I got with Murray, who took all the sounds that I had put together. I do a lot of pre-production so that everyone has a really great idea of where it is that I want to go. Sometimes like I don't have the ears for the sounds. That's the problem. Like I'm not an engineer at all, but Murray is. And so he listened and he was like, okay, we just need to replace this sound with this and this with this. And anyways, the idea of the song was always about hitting the clubs, seeing someone that you want to hook up with or whatever. You have a good time, but then you have another good time, maybe the next day. And maybe it's another good time the next day. And then all of a sudden Monday rolls around and you're kind of like, oh shit, do I like this person? Like, you know what I mean? Like I want to hang out with them again. This wasn't just like a one night stand. Like all of a sudden it's like, I think I actually like this person. And it comes from a real place. I mean, me and my boys, when I was with In Essence, I mean, we're a 5-man boy band, and you can imagine the damage that we did back in the day at the clubs. So I mean, it is something that I definitely went through back in the day. Yeah, my wife's gonna love hearing this on this. But it is, it's real. And I love writing about that kind of stuff because it is real. And I think that love is so complicated. It's more, love and relationships are so much more complicated than they make it out to be on fucking TV and whatnot. Like it's real shit. You know what I mean? And emotions get involved. And when you give yourself to somebody, sometimes it is just a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, that's it. But sometimes you can fall into that thing where it's like, wow, like I think I like you. Now what? Right? And so that's what kind of Weekend Lover is about. Like, am I just your weekend lover, or is this something more? And even one of the lyrics in like the pre-chorus is like, you really want to spell my baby, really want to spell my heart. Never gave a second thought about love. Now I can't see us apart. It's just like, yeah, man. Like now, what am I gonna do? So yeah. Anyways, that's where it started. This is where it's at now, and it's finally seeing the world. And I've always thought of this as like a roller skating jam. Always. I've always thought of this as a roller skating jam, and that is the video that we're gonna shoot. It's actually inside of a Scooter's Roller Palace, right by my old high school that I went to, Clarkson. They finally they've opened up, but they're allowing us to shoot in there. So I've got some skaters, some real skaters, because I can get on the skates. I actually used to roller skate as a kid. I'm not good with it. Like I can't do all those like crazy dances and the crazy legs, but I'm getting guys that can. And so it'll look good. It'll look good on camera. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's the idea, man. It's gonna be fun.
You got to bring in the professionals, and I mean, maybe they can teach you a trick or two too, because you said this is being shot next week, so maybe the skates get put back on. Who knows? But
well, you know what? Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to go and grab a pair of skates. Like I literally need to go grab a pair of skates because I need to make sure that I can at least stand upright for this damn thing, or else we're gonna have to change the storyline to like something like, you know what I mean? I meet the girl and she like tries to teach me and I'm falling on my ass all night. Like maybe that's the storyline. Who knows?
Turn it into a little bit of a comedy piece.
Exactly. It could be that. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like the last year. You got to adapt on the fly, right?
Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Entertainment, baby. It's you can plan, but you got to plan for failure too, because nothing ever goes according.
That's just it, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you finally get a return to some of a past feeling there with the vibe, the R&B. You get a return to the music videos as well. And if all things go well soon, we could be returning to the stage. So how exciting is it to finally have that opportunity to not only release these songs, but to potentially put them in front of fans?
Wow. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Like, I can't wait to get on the stage and deliver these songs with the same energy that I used to deliver the Motown stuff with. Like I can't wait. Um, I have a live show on the 24th. It's this drive-in thing for a jazz festival here, the Beaches Jazz Festival, and I'm going to be premiering like 5 or 6 of these tunes with my live band, and I can't wait. Like I can't. It's going to be so dope just to finally play these tunes live for people and get a reaction. Yeah, man, I'm so stoked, so stoked.
Yes, it's it. As live streams are one thing, but having comments and like hearts go through your feed is not the same as that immediate feedback that you get from a crowd, whether it's claps, whether it's cheering, whatever. It's just not like nothing replaces that.
No, man, no, not at all. Um, I'm so looking forward to that, and I don't know, you know what I mean? Like I only have that one gig right now in terms of like something live. Like there's a lot of like virtual stuff that's going on still. But I feel like all the companies are getting tired of that too. And now that we're, because it's just not the same. Like I know we had to do it back then, but the result just wasn't as exciting as anyone, you know what I mean, thought it was going to be. And so I'm hoping that now that, at least in Ontario, like 50% of the people have been double vaxxed, and we're going into like this stage 3 thing. Hopefully the live stuff is going to start to really come back, and I'm fingers crossed. Like I said, I have a residency at Casa Loma, this beautiful castle in downtown Toronto, and I'm hoping that will come back. There's still time for it to come. Like we normally go to the end of August, and so there's still time to head back out and do 6 weeks of that. So we'll see what happens.
Even just a short run, right? Make the most of
Even
it.
a short run would be amazing. And I know the people of Ontario, the people of Toronto would love it because everybody has just been starved for live entertainment. Like they just have, man. So yeah, we'll see.
We shall see for sure. I have one last question, Sean. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
All right. So we have talked about this progress of once again re-embracing some of those roots, that R&B sound, the time that it has taken to craft this album. So what I would like to know now is, over this time, how has it helped you grow as a person, or what has it taught you about yourself?
Well, I think, like I was alluding to before, I think it's just taught me that to be myself, to follow my heart, and to just go, don't hold back, just just do what you need to do and what's inside of your heart. Don't think too much with your head. Um, and you can't go wrong with that, because at the end of the day, whether or not this album is successful or not, I put my heart and soul into it, and I did what I felt was right. And so after you lay it all out, and I'm a sports guy, so it's just like once you lay it all out on the field, you can go home and you can be disappointed if something doesn't happen, but you'll never be like, oh, and thinking about it for the rest of your life. You'll never be doing that. You're just going to be like, what? It didn't work out. On to the next thing, right? And so that's the way I feel right now. And I've also learned that everything takes time and nothing comes before its time. And so, you know, I wouldn't have wanted, the pandemic to come about, but because of the pandemic, I was able to, get my voice dealt with, have surgery, not miss any gigs whatsoever, still record an album, still get all my virtual shows and everything else done that were available last year, and still have enough time to continue to recuperate, because literally, I'm feeling finally like at about 90 to 95% at right now. Like I'm still not 100% even from last year. And that's just the nature of the surgery. As small as you think it is, oh, they're just taking a little tiny thing off of your vocal cord. Bro, like it's a real thing. It takes time. And so, you know, it all just worked out. And every time something is not going the way that I planned, I just have to sit back, calm the voice in my head and say, you know what, it's all going to work out and it's all for a particular reason. And I have a 15 song album that is about to come out. Everything's moving. And Weekend Lover, finally I have a chance, which, is one of my favorite songs on the record, is coming out at a time when everything is loosening up. Like I couldn't have planned it better. Like the pandemic is almost at an end. And finally here's this single that I love, that I feel is really, really strong, that's coming out right at the right time, right in the middle of summer. Like, what? Who planned that? It just happened the way that it happened. I don't know.
Couldn't write it any better, right?
Couldn't write it, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Yeah, you just got to believe. You just got to believe in something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I thank you for sharing that perspective and this piece of this journey here with us today on the Desert Tiger podcast, Sean.
Oh, dude, thank you so much for having me. Really, really appreciate it. Glad you enjoy Weekend Lover. I'm telling you, when you hear the rest of this album, if you love Weekend Lover, you're really going to enjoy the rest of these tunes. Trust me.
Oh, I'm very excited. I cannot wait.
Amazing, man. Well, thank you very much, dude.